Hey you, it's me, Nicole Phoenix Star, and this is the Nick Star podcast. So it's been a couple of weeks since I've done a podcast. I've just returned from 3 weeks in Bali and I feel like I've been gone about 3 months. But here we are. I kind of packed a lot in and so I left Melbourne not long after my birthday and came back to the Sunshine Coast for a few days, had a quick visit with Leo, and then flew to Bali. I had a few things planned and arranged, and I had a very specific reason initially to go to Bali, and that was to do a refresh on my villa in Ubud that I still have 18 months contract on because my contract fell over in the end of March. The people that had signed it for the duration closed their business and couldn't fulfill the contract any further. And while I was there, I went and did an inspection, and it was very tired looking and in need of a refresh, let's say that. So while I was there, I booked a flight to go back because I had a gap in my house sitting commitments, which was very helpful. I had a short-term tenant in the in-between at a reduced rate, which was handy. Anyway, I arrived back in Bali also with an appointment for a medical procedure that I actually arranged for while I was there as well. And that was a upper and lower blepharoplasty. Basically eyelid surgery. I'll share a bit more of that in a minute. So I arrived back at my villa, which was like a homecoming. I had lived there for 2 years before I moved back to Australia, and it was very much home for Leo and I after returning from Australia after COVID. And it was a beautiful 3 weeks there. Very much felt like I was at home, as it always does in Bali. Like I ride around the streets, it feels very normal. I don't feel like I've gone for a visit or gone on. Everyone's like, "Have you had a good vacation? Have you had good holidays?" And I'm like, "No, it doesn't feel like that at all." And that was never the purpose of me going there. It just feels normal. Like I've spent over a decade driving or riding around those roads and going to all the places, doing all the things. It just feels like a very normal thing that is so familiar. And when you live in presence and are just simply in the now, it just feels the most normal thing in the world. Anyway, I had a student of mine come a couple of days later and stay for a week, which was really sweet and lovely. We hung out and had a day at the temple and kind of did our own things and whatnot. The day before she left, I actually went and had my surgery. So basically, the upper and lower eyelid surgery is something I've been looking at for a little while because my left eyelid had become quite droopy as I had aged. And the reason for that is because when I was 21, I had Bell's palsy, where half your face shuts down and doesn't work. And as I have gotten older, that difference in muscle strength and whatnot in my face has become prevalent. So my left eyelid was far more droopy than my right eyelid. And it got to a point where my eyelid would kind of sit on my eyelashes. And there were times where there was kind of like a blur at the top of my left vision line. And so it started interrupting my sight. And to get this surgery done in Australia is $4,000 for one eye. And I got upper and lower done for basically 2,300 as opposed to 16,000 or whatever. Very helpful. I did a lot of research beforehand. I prepared myself. I took a lot of extra supplements for my immune system, as well as just making sure that, all the all my banks were full of all the things I needed. And I went and had the surgery, which was 3 hours on the table with local anesthetic. Um, and then I went home, 2 hour car drive, and I spent the next 3 or 4 days pretty much in bed. Not because I felt unwell or anything, but for the purpose of an excellent recovery. So every hour I would get ice packs and put on my eyes for 10 to 15 minutes. And then on the next hour, I'd go downstairs and change over my ice packs because I had a few, and then go back upstairs. And I did that on repeat. Clean my eyes with saline and use the antiseptic cream. I actually sang a lot of mantras and listened to a lot of podcasts and did a lot of my magical Nickstar healing processes. I had prepped my food, I nourished myself with all the things, and on day 6, by the time I went back to my surgeon to get the stitches out, they were so blown away at my results and how incredible everything was. They took the stitches out and were just like, wow, we've never seen healing like this. People come to Bali and do the surgery and then run around like tourists and end up with infections and don't, take this seriously. And you've clearly taken this seriously, and some. A lot of people don't rest enough, ice enough, and yeah, wow, you are incredible. And so, yeah, like already it's very hard to see the scars, and my it's really funny. Like I tell people, I'm like, I hasn't noticed that. You couldn't see that. I'm like, yeah, because like I had to deal with it. I got the same friend putting on eyeshadow. Like I have to move my eyelid around because when I opened my eye, it just was in a different space, and I thought I'd done it. And yeah, it's something that I've been contemplating for a couple of years and got to a point that it all lined up. So that was kind of the second week. And then the last week, I got in and did the refresh on the villa, and I took off all the flaking and paint on some of the walls, and some of the walls kind of were compromised. So I filled them with wall filler, and I
sanded them down and repainted them, and I had this roller, and I did a whole bathroom roof and walls, and then moved around on the floor. It was so efficient and effective. Um, yeah, I did so much painting and cleans in the house. Two young guys come over to help me move some furniture around and move some paintings around, and one of them was my staff's eldest son, older man since he was a baby, and came and is the young man now, and another young man, and they were really cute and helpful and sweet. And yeah, we just got everything done really fast. Like within an hour, we'd moved all the furniture that I needed, and they, yeah, with some picture hooks around and helped me in the things that I couldn't do myself. And by the end of it, I was incredibly happy, and the refresh is gorgeous. And yeah, I don't know. I had a big gratitude and went around there, touched all the walls and thanked them. Just had this extremely profound expression of gratitude for that house. That it's held me through some extraordinary times, and I just love that place. And yeah, ready for a new someone to come spend some time. So I'm hoping to rent it out for the remainder of the 18 months on the contract, or a year. But, it is available monthly rental, but we will see what lines up. It is what it is. There's a lot of um there's a lot of competition for villas right now, so we will see. But I know it's a really big, solid, stable space, and it's got beautiful energy, and yeah. So I finished all that off and went and had a lovely visit with an old friend of mine, which was lots of fun and lovely to catch up with her. I haven't seen her since I had moved to Australia, and then I flew home. That's a funny word. I flew back to the Central Coast. And then currently, wake up in my friend's house and lay near for a little bit before I move on to my next house set on the Ubud side, not on the. So yeah, it's been a very fruitful and fulfilling time. A lot has happened, and like I said, those 3 weeks in Bali, I felt like 3 months, and I was realizing that I don't know, I've been all over the place since this boarding school season started, and I realized it's been 4 months, and that's kind of a bit hard for the mind to compute. That I spent 3 weeks in Melbourne, and I spent almost 2 weeks in Central Coast over Easter, and I don't know, bits and pieces here and there, and yeah, it's a funny thing. I I love a lot of it, but coming back here where I have my own bed and I have your all my clothes and your curry, and you come back here and empty my suitcase and then repack it, head out again, and I'm very grateful and very fortunate to have my ring him. And when I got back from my overnight flight in Bali, where I did nothing, I slept in my bed 12 hours and 48 minutes. And my whoop said to me, "This is the longest we've ever." Looked like I even remember last time I slept for 12 hours and 48 minutes. That's crazy. It was beautiful. It was very cold and stewy. Yeah, it was very, very wonderful. Um, yeah, I know, having your own bed, my bed, where it's like perfect, cozy situation. I mean, I do travel with my own pillow. I just amazing gel, um, orthopedic pillow that is really quite rubber and kind of folding off. And I treat that everywhere. It's been safer in my life. Like just before I left Australia, and it was this $350 however. I tell you, it is priceless. It is absolutely priceless. And during perimenopause, I had a lot of back and neck issues and the full cervical spine depreciation situation, and it has supported me literally and stabilized my reality. And I never not take it anywhere, ever. It is the first thing always packed and takes up the space that is required in wherever luggage I have if I'm flying. Um, yeah, I just did some yoga before because I was feeling a bit achy, and I realized that I hadn't done any since I got back after being squished in that plane and trying to sleep, which I didn't actually do, and I ended up having a 2-hour dance party in my seat. I remember some time ago I'd accidentally downloaded this Ibiza electronic music soundtrack playlist thing, and I opened up Spotify and then the downloads came in obviously because there was no Wi-Fi. And I just kept playing and I was just like really cool music, and I just was like moving my chair between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. And that's so funny. My whoop registered on downhill bass and steps because my feet were dancing in the chair. I was very subtle, like I did not disturb the man next to me. But yeah, I was really quite awake, and I don't know, I was feeling extreme joy and incredibly happy after trip for Tyre Valley, and excited about coming back here and what's coming in the next couple of months. And school of holidays coming, and they're going to be hosting out at place we call the zoo, where we spent all of January, where there's cows and horses and alpacas and dogs and cats and snakes and goats and chickens and guinea fowls. And the other big barn there with studying, and it's really fun. And yeah, Harley's coming to visit, and we've got my cousin's daughter's the birthday party. There's lots of things happening. It's very, very exciting. So yeah, I don't know, I'll just be floating on their little joy bubble. Grateful for all the moments. Landing on this insane, glorious sunrise. It just didn't seem real. Um, and I saw the sunrise from the plane and across the Australian sky, and I don't know, I just, this dash of gratitude has been pouring out of me. non-stop. I jumped on my bike yesterday. A glorious work. And rode into town. I had to do some mailing, some Oracle cards, orders that came in to read me last week, and I had to get them done because I said I would. And yeah, just riding through that guitar on the bike. And did that on the way back. Started pouring rain. And I felt like blessings all over me. I got drenched, but it was fun. I was just giggling at it all. Yeah. And I went down to the food garden and pulled out kale and Asian curry, some dinner. Got fresh basil for my lunch, and yeah, I'm feeling super blessed for all the little things. Yeah. So yeah, that's my update. I have a list of things I want to share in coming weeks as for the podcast, getting back into things. So yeah, I work out what order I want to do that is. Yeah, some wellness stuff and some spiritual stuff and some sacred life stuff, which is all the same thing really, but a little highlight, I guess. What hit for now. Here we are in the present moment. And I want to thank you. Yeah, quite extraordinary. I had so many people listening to past podcast episodes while I wasn't published the last couple of weeks, and it's just, I don't know, gives me so much joy to say random places being scattered across the interwebs. It's like a little crazy world that we are able to listening and have access to people most far offliners and intimate spaces. And although it's a crazy place at times, it's also pretty wild and profound and a form of connection that is really, really special. So thank you so much for listening. I am so grateful. All my love. Mwah.